Hello YouTube. This video is about QuickBooks Online bank feeds and why I think they're special, why they make it worth the price of a subscription, the price of admission, if you will. My name is Jim Merritt, and I am a QuickBooks Advanced Certified ProAdvisor. I've been doing QuickBooks consulting now for 16 years. Wow. So here we go. We're going to get started with this. So first of all, when I say bank feeds, what am I talking about? I'm talking about this area right in here. You can see this little pencil right here indicates that this bank account is connected to my bank, and about once a day, it polls the bank to say, is there anything new there? Is there anything that has cleared the bank that needs to be downloaded into QuickBooks so QuickBooks Online will understand that these transactions or this transaction has cleared the bank? You can also get to bank feeds by clicking banking. So either here or here will take you to the same place. Now, let's discuss what we're looking at here. So these are transactions that have cleared the bank. It does not necessarily mean these transactions are already in QuickBooks Online. Now, if we see the word match right here, yes, that transaction is in QuickBooks Online already, and QuickBooks Online is just saying, look, this transaction that cleared the bank is already in QuickBooks Online, so we click match and we make it go away. All right. Now, let me also discuss, and I don't have the situation here, but if the word match is in gray instead of the green that you see, it means there's more than one possibility that could be the match. In other words, it's the same amount and it's close probably in date, but QuickBooks says it could be this one, or it could be this one, or it could be a whole list of them. And it's just not 100% confident. That's what it means. Now, I can sit here and click match, okay, or I could just check these off right here. Match, match, and match. All righty. Yep, that's it. Match and match. And then I can select Accept Selected. And now all of those disappear. It looks like I have one more. Okay, so it doesn't mean that it has put it in QuickBooks again for a match. It just means everything's kosher. Now disappear. Go away from this screen. All right, we've taken care of it. Now, on the other hand, we have the word rule, okay? And a rule says we have built, right here, you go to bank rules, we have built rules based on these transactions so that if QuickBooks does not find these transactions already in QuickBooks Online, then this rule will allow us to quickly add them, okay? Another thing I want to point out real quick, I can sort all of these columns. I can sort by date. I can sort by description. Now, the description is simply what the bank knows the transaction as, okay? What the bank knows the transaction as. And I will tell you, like when we get down into here, these are transactions that there was no match, that there is no rule, but we're going to build a rule for this one in a minute. And it doesn't really know where it's going or where it goes. So if you see here, it says travel and entertainment. You've really got to ignore this category or match column the majority of the time if it doesn't say match or rule, because there's some algorithm that QuickBooks Online is using, but it's wrong such a high percentage of the time. And here it's saying, look, I really don't know who the vendor should be here. Okay, so this is the bank text. This is who you would put it in as the payee in QuickBooks. So obviously AT&T would be AT&T, Amazon would be Amazon, and a lot of times these are going to be a one-to-one correlation. But if we look like at Port City Java, for instance, I probably would put this payee in as Port City Java and not Port City Java Inc. But still, this would use Port City Java, this would use Port City Java, and this would use Port City Java, even though the bank text is slightly different. All right, so let's talk about these rules. If I click here, Bank Rules, there is a list of the rules that I have built for this file. Now, this is all just test data. It's not real live data. And I will tell you that the first time you go to Bank Rules, you'll see 3 rules that'll say fuel. One would say fuel. The other one will say Starbucks. And the other one will say something like owner mobile phone. And those are just sample rules. And as a matter of fact, as soon as you create your first official rule, those 3 will disappear. All right. Now, obviously, Starbucks is a real rule now that I've created. All right. So let's take a look at a rule. Let's look at the AT&T rule. So in this case, I've given the rule name the name AT&T. Okay. And, this name right here should just be something that's meaningful to you. And then I'm saying to this rule, first of all, I want you to know that this rule is an expense going out as opposed to money coming in. I can also select various bank accounts or credit card accounts because you can also link your credit cards, your PayPal account, as well as your bank account or bank accounts. And I can select which accounts I want this rule to apply to. Now, in this scenario, we've only got the one bank account. And then here, I'm just saying the text that the bank downloads it as is AT&T. The payee is AT&T. Therefore, put it in this general ledger account called cell phone. And put a memo in there that says cell phone bill. So can you see the beauty of this? Every time that AT&T gets downloaded and it's not already in QuickBooks Online, it's going to apply this rule to it and it's going to build consistency into the transaction. Okay. Now let's take a look at, let's do Port City Java. Okay. So let's build a rule for Port City Java. And if you remember, let me just go back over here. The bank knows it as Port City Java or Port City Java Inc. So I'm just going to copy Port City Java and I'm going to select Bank Rules. I'm going to select New Rule. I'm going to paste that in there so it says Port City Java. Okay, I'm going to call it Port City Java here. I'm going to call it Port City Java here. Now, Port City Java has never been entered before, so I'm going to click Add Port City Java, and I'm going to add them as a vendor. All right, and therefore, that's going to be a meeting expense. So in this case, I brought coffee into a meeting. So I'll say coffee for meeting. Okay. Now, here's another really cool thing. I know that sometimes, depending on which Port City Java I frequent, the bank will download the text. Instead of saying Port City Java, it'll say PCJ. Well, yeah, I could build another rule that says PCJ, but PCJ is Port City Java. So if I come up here and I click Any, and then I say Add Line, the Any is what makes it say or. Okay, so it's going to say Port City Java or PCJ, apply this rule. Okay, now if I use all, it would say and in this case, it's not going to download it as Port City Java and PCJ. So we want to use any to say or. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to save that. Now when I go back to my banking area, you can see that Port City Java now has rules applied to it. All right. So that when in this case, I can just select every single one of them. All right. Now, before I do that, if you have a scenario, let's see if there's a good one in here. Maybe not. Okay. Well, I'll use LogMeIn as an example. Let's pretend that there is no rule applied to LogMeIn. Okay. And I want to get this in there. As a matter of fact, just for purposes of illustration, let me just remove the LogMeIn rule. So I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to come over here to the pull down and say Delete. Yes. All right. When we go back now, LogMeIn does not have a rule assigned. And maybe I look at this and I go, well, it doesn't make sense to build a rule for this. This is a one-time charge. I'll never see it again. Those are cases where, yes, you can click here and you can go ahead and add, LogMeIn there. It posted it uncategorized expense. Nope, don't want it there. That would go to dues and subscriptions. So you got to know where it goes, right? And then I would just say, what is this? And I know that this is a Go to Assist remote login software. Okay. And then I click Add, and now it puts it in QuickBooks, and it's there now. The same thing can be said for these rules here. I want to go ahead. Now, again, remember, these rules means they were not found in QuickBooks Online already. But as soon as I go up here and say Accept Selected, they are now in QuickBooks Online. Furthermore, and I wish I had illustrated this earlier, but earlier we had some matches, and some of them were deposits that had been matched. I want to say this. If you're creating invoices, remember when you do an invoice, when you get paid, you need to do a receive payment and you need to make the deposit. The same thing if you do a sales receipt, you typically need to make that deposit. And so I would never add deposits here. We really want our monies received, i.e. our deposits. We really want those to always say match, meaning that I've already gone through and did the proper steps, i.e. received payment, made deposit, or created a sales receipt and deposited that, so that when I get to this screen, they say match. If they don't, I'll go fix them so that they do say match when I come back to this screen. All right, hope that makes sense. And just real quick now, if we look at, let's look at meals. No, let's look at meeting expenses. So let's run this report to refresh it. And here's meeting expenses. Okay, if we look at the Port City Java and the Starbucks, can you see the consistency that's built in there? The fact that these all have a nice memo, that's critical. It may not sound critical, but memos are important to your accounting. Okay, I tell clients all the time, don't ever put a transaction in without a memo that tells me what is this. And you can argue that there can be redundancy. Up here we did the AT&T bill, for instance, that was under cell phone. And, you can argue, well, really, you got to put cell phone bill in there. We know it's AT&T. You post it to the cell phone account, but it's just an easy practice. And if you set this rule up with a memo already in there, it's really a no-brainer. All right. Now, and finally, I want to show you this, that when you go to reconcile your account, the other thing that's happening as you click match, as you click add for the rules, or as you manually add a transaction or two, it's putting a check mark in the reconciled column, so that when I go to reconcile, if I will put in my ending balance. Let's see. Okay. But what I was going to say is when I go to reconcile, it automatically checks these things off. And that's really a nice feature to have. So you can reconcile an account in a matter of minutes. Now, I'm not ready to reconcile this account because it's not the end of the month, but you get the idea. Lot of value in the bank feed section of QuickBooks Online, and I encourage you strongly, take advantage of it. All right? If you ever need anything, if you ever have questions, if you need help with QuickBooks, pick up the phone, give us a call, 910-338-0488, or you can email us, info@QuickTrainer.biz, info@QuickTrainer.biz, and feel free to visit us on our website at www.quicktrainer.biz or .net. Either one will get you there. Make it a great day.